What up, folks? Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Wealthy Wednesdays. I am Kamari Ellis, the Finance Rebel. Wealthy Wednesdays is a segment of the Finance Rebel Show. The Finance Rebel Show is all about increasing your financial IQ. Listen, life is really, really hard if you don't have any kind of financial education. Everything costs more when you don't have a financial education. You usually pay higher interest rates, usually get lower paying jobs, you usually aren't able to maximize your business. So listen, take the time, financially educate yourself. Listen, I didn't say literacy. I didn't say become financially literate. I'm saying get financially educated. There is a difference. All right. So take the time, get financially educated so you can improve your overall life, the life for you, the life for your family, and the life for your community. Because listen, we're all in this together. So, like I said, I'm Kamari Ellis. It's Wealthy Wednesdays. Please like, comment, and share. Please share your questions. I'm here. Not going to be on long though, right? I told y'all that last week. I'm sticking to it this week. I'm not going to be on more than 60 minutes. This is a short, abbreviated session. I got some other things to do, working on a couple other projects. So, let's get in here. Let's get it popping. Let's get moving. And let's answer these questions. Shelby, how are you, sir? I'm still waiting on my my package, Shelby, so I can brag on your CMOS. Hey, Tara, how you doing? Mid-Atlantic, how are you? Kelly's Closet. What's up, Kelly? What's popping? So as everybody's filling in, I said I was going to talk about this subject because it's something that everybody needs to be thinking about. When's the last time you checked your life insurance? When's the last time you reviewed your life insurance? Do you know if you have enough life insurance? Do you have too little life insurance? Do you have any life insurance at all? Well, guess what? It's September, and September is Life Insurance Awareness Month. All right, so I don't sell life insurance anymore. People used to buy a boatload of life insurance from me years ago. I don't do it anymore because it's really a pain in the butt to get policies done, especially in COVID. I know it's got to be crazy, but however, it's still important. Life insurance is still probably the most powerful financial instrument ever created. Why? Because you pay pennies on a dollar for what you get in return, right? And I'm also tired of seeing GoFundMe's. So I saw one today, broke my heart. Somebody was raising money for another gentleman. And I was just like, man, and this is no shame, right? Because I don't know their situation. I don't know if they might have had health complications. They might have not been able to get life insurance. Everybody is not eligible for life insurance. But the younger you are, the higher the probability you will be to qualify for it. All right. So life insurance primarily is to replace your income. That is probably the most used reason. Now, life insurance has a whole lot of other reasons, right? Keyman insurance is used sometimes with life insurance, succession planning, estate planning, generational wealth planning. A lot of these things are used or utilized with life insurance or work together in tandem with life insurance. But, I see a lot of people that do not have life insurance, and sadly they'll pass. They might have children, they might have a loved one, a spouse, and then the spouse and the loved ones are struggling to pay for a burial. The loved ones are struggling to just put food on the table, keep the electricity on, keep the water and the gas on. A lot of times when the household is now only becoming a one income household, right? It went from a two income household to a one. So it went from 2 to 1. So just think about it, right? Average American makes about $50,000 a year. We know that fluctuates, right? But they make $50,000 now. So if it's two of them, they make $100,000. Take away one, we're back to $50,000. But usually as a couple, they've grown. They might have had some children. They might have brought a house together, a car, some other things. And then when all of that falls apart, it's a very, very, very crazy ordeal. Very, very crazy ordeal. So listen, take a look at your life insurance policy. I know all of y'all folks are smart, so you have policies. You have life insurance professionals that you deal with, whether it be a life insurance professional or a financial planner or a financial advisor. I know all of my folks who come and watch me every week have somebody in their life that they could trust to get them on the right path when it comes to life insurance. All right. There's roughly 4 different kinds of life insurance. Real quick, I'm not going to belabor this too long, but there's basically 4 different types of life insurance. You have the cheapest form of life insurance, right? It's kind of like the Ford. That's term life insurance. And then you have the most expensive form of life insurance, which is like the Cadillac or the Mercedes, which is whole life, right? So term is the cheapest. All right. Term does not gather any cash value. Whole life is the most expensive. It does gather cash value. There are some tax advantages to using whole life insurance or a permanent life insurance, right? So whole life insurance is a permanent form of life insurance, right? And so we have those two at both ends, right? And there's basically 2 different kinds in the middle as well that are permanent life insurance policies. You have a UL, universal life policy, all right? And a universal life policy gathers cash or accumulates cash value. The cash value that it grows at is usually based on an interest rate. All right, the interest rate that the life insurance company puts together and puts out. All right, and then you have what's called a VUL, a variable universal life policy. And so again, this is another permanent policy. This is probably the most flexible out of all the policies. It's also the most risky out of all the policies as well. And so a variable universal life policy gathers cash. You can generate cash value in it, but you can invest a part of that cash in the stock market through various they're not mutual funds, but for this conversation, we're going to call them mutual funds. They call them sub accounts, but they're very much like mutual funds. All right, because it's basically a basket of investments, and that's what you're going to choose inside of your life insurance policy. Your cash will fluctuate just like the market does, so it will depend upon your asset allocation. Right? We talked about asset allocation. Either last week or week before last. I can't remember. So all of those things are the factors, right? Life insurance overall comes with a lot of different riders, right? Sometimes you can get an insurance policy, right? So let's say you get a term policy, and you lose your job. Well, there's a rider on there that will cover the premium of the policy, which is the payment of the policy. And so you're able to get back on your feet. With the term, remember I said term was temporary. With the term policies, there's riders on there that you can convert that term policy to a permanent policy. Okay, so, those things are important as well. One of the things that's kind of goes around when you're thinking about, do you need term or you need permanent? Many people say you need temporary insurance to cover the temporary things in life. You want permanent insurance to cover the permanent things in life. So, you have to decide what you feel is temporary and what is not. Everybody's life insurance objectives are different. All right. So, but that's kind of a way to think about it. So when temporary, here's an example. Let's say you have young children and you want to make sure that they are able to go to college while they're young and while you're still alive and kicking, right? Just in case if you're no longer there, right? You don't make it home that night, you can pay for their college and anything else. But that's temporary, right? Because usually once the child hits 18 or maybe 20, 21, family's not thinking about that as much anymore, right? But that's just one thing of permanent. Excuse me, that's just one example of a temporary thing. A permanent thing may be, well, I have 2 children. I want to make sure my 2 children and my wife, right? My 2 children and my wife get a minimum of $50,000 in cash because there's going to be other obligations and other things that are needed at the time of my passing, right? And sometimes when you pass, it's really hard to get cash because when the banks find out you pass away, they tend to freeze your accounts. And there's some other things as well that you might need cash for at the moment. You might need a burial. You might need a car fixed. You might need to buy clothing, right? For your young ones, your siblings. You might need to fly somebody in, right? But going back, and I kind of went off on a rant there, so forgive me. So because I'm talking about permanent things, right? So again, let's say you wanted to leave $50,000 to each, your siblings, excuse me, not your siblings, your children. You got 2 children in this example, and you have a wife or a spouse. All right. So then you might get $150,000 in a permanent policy. All right. And so we know that's a permanent thing. We talked about the permanent thing. And then we had the coverage. Like I said, whole life insurance is more expensive than term. It gathers a cash value over time. That cash value is based on a dividend, or it's usually based on a dividend that the company pays out as well. Your mutual companies tend to pay out a bigger dividend than your stock companies. So, for example, this is not an endorsement of any company, but I'm just using them as examples. MetLife is a stock company. All right, it's publicly traded. New York Life, however, is a mutual company. They are owned, and what mutual company means is that they are owned by the policyholders. All right, owned by the policyholders that hold policies in New York Life. So the company is really organized for the benefit of the policyholders. Right, New York Life is basically basically organized for the benefit of the policyholders, whereas MetLife is organized for the benefit of stockholders. Y'all know that game, right? I'm sure you've heard it before, how companies benefit the stockholders, the stakeholders, the owners of the company. For profit is for profit. New York Life, again, is more for the benefit of the of the policyholders. All right. So those are just some super duper basic things about life insurance. Life insurance is probably one of the most complicated areas of finance there is. There's so many different things you can do with finance, so many different ways you can go with it. It's really, really interesting what you can do with it. All right, so who has questions? I know I saw a question from my man Garen. Shout out to Garen, the website extraordinaire, or the web designer extraordinaire. Karan, I see you. Thanks for joining us. P. Wills, thank you for joining us. 4PB, thank you for joining us. How was everybody tonight? So Garen asks, what about disability insurance for solo entrepreneurs? I think disability insurance is very important for entrepreneurs, solo or not, in general. Why? You actually have a higher probability of becoming disabled than you do of dying, especially a young guy like you, Garen. So yeah, I would look into disability. Sometimes it can be a little hard to get though, or a little expensive, but I think it's well worth it. Especially if you have steady cash flows coming into your business, because you never know. I mean, sometimes I go running. I haven't been running as much as I need to or should be, but if I step off a curb, funny, and I slip and fall and twist my ankle or sprain some ligaments or something like that, I'm out of commission. Now, benefit is, most of my business is virtual at this point, so I don't have to do a whole lot of driving. But for some of my seniors that I do service, sometimes I do have to drive. I'm trying not to do that as much anymore, but I'm also a sucker for some of my seniors, but don't tell them I said that. But it's always something, God forbid you're in a car crash and you're out, I'm assuming you're going to live through that, but you're out and you can't make money. That disability insurance will then come in and cover the freight to whatever amount you insured yourself for. So let's say it's $2,000 a month or $3,000 a month. Tillman Finance, how are you, sir? Thank you for joining. Oh, Darius, where you been, Darius? I ain't seen you in forever. Yeah, me too, Big Man Tech. DJ Skills, how are you? Yes, absolutely. Well, disability insurance for the most part usually is temporary. Don, I thought I was live on Facebook. Maybe I'm not. Maybe that's the problem. I don't think I am. But let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. I guess I was rushing. Thank you for that call, Don. I did not even notice that. I think I'm live now. If somebody is around on Facebook, could you see if I am broadcasting live? Oh, yep, I'm looking at it now. I just went live on Facebook. So yeah, thank you. The Taxman 11, how are you, sir? Oh yeah, Frank, that did happen to you. That exactly happened to you when you had a car accident. You're so right. You know what? I wasn't even thinking about you per se when I was talking about disability insurance and car accidents. But yeah, that's real. Um, Maybe we can, since you have a YouTube channel now, maybe I'll have you come on and you could talk about that experience on Frank, and we can cross promote your channels. So thank you, Miss Edith. I just figured out I'm not live. Yo, Don, I'm gonna say this every time you on me, Don. I appreciate you, bro. I don't care if you're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, you always show me love, and I appreciate you for that. I truly do. All right, so Miss Edith asked, what about shenanigans? You said we will discuss. I said I was going to do a video on shenanigans, and I never got around to it. But I talked about it last week. And I talked about how it's really impacting the lives of our community, the people in our community, my community, the Black community, people that look like me, right? And we really don't have any money. We don't have any money to be losing to these shenanigans. I'm sure y'all all have seen the videos that are going around about some folks that have invested in real estate and how they've lost $1 million. And a lot of people were complaining, saying they can't get their money back. Well, had they done more financial education, I think more people would have missed that or would have passed on that. But again, we always have to take accountability for our actions, right? Listen, I'm a big boxing fan, or at least I used to be a big boxing fan, like big boxing fan. And the number one rule in boxing is always protect yourself. All right, when you're in the ring, always. And so that adage, that saying should apply to your money as well. Always protect your money, no matter what. P. Will says, hey, Spooner, are we family? Who's Spooner on here? But if y'all making family connections, that's dope too. I didn't say that, Karan. You said it. I don't say no names. I don't want no trouble. I don't want no trouble. I'm not for all the marching and all of the other stuff. Listen, I'm just trying to help folks, and I don't want no trouble in trying to do that. I ain't got time for no beefs. So, hey, Latoya, how you doing? Shout out to Latoya, my tax and bookkeeping extraordinaire down in Texas. All right, so everybody's up. So yeah, well, I figured out something new. I figured out that I can go live while I'm already live on my software. So that's something new, right? So out of every bad thing, there's always a lesson. Miss Griffin finally got me live. Okay. Listen, who asked questions? I'm not going to be on long tonight. Y'all got me for about another 35 minutes. 35 minutes. 35. Yes, I am live. I was live for a minute. Is my fault. I went live on YouTube. I went live on Instagram. I thought I went live on Facebook, but for some reason I was not live on Facebook. So my apologies. If you missed it, you could always go on YouTube. I need y'all help on YouTube anyway, right? So help me grow my YouTube channel. So please go subscribe to my YouTube channel. I will give you the link momentarily. But while we're doing that, we are listening, we are watching the Wealthy Wednesdays. My name is Kamari Ellis. I'm the Finance Rebel. Every Wednesday, I come in and I do a live Q&A. I answer all your money questions live to the best of my ability, right? They are my opinion. Some people vary with my opinion. They disagree vehemently with my opinion, and that's okay. But I have over 20 years experience, so I'm not just pulling these opinions out my tukish. They all are something that I learned through education or experience with my clients or experience with myself somewhere along the way over that 20 plus year journey. All right, so who has questions? Let's get back to this. And so do me a favor, subscribe to my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is youtube.com/Kamari Ellis. Again, youtube.com/Kamari Ellis. Kaizen Investor was so gracious to send me a tip last week. And I really, really appreciate you, Kaizen, because I took that money and I invested in an ETF. So I said I'm going to buy $5 worth of an ETF. I'm not going to tell y'all the ETF just yet because I have a video planned. Well, you know what? I'll tell you because I want to talk about a conversation I had with my son yesterday. So, every day, Monday was the holiday, right? Hope you all did well. By the way, before I get to my story, listen, everybody that's in Philly, shout out to David Sims, the proprietor and CEO of Eatable Delights. I got me some major fat boy grub over the weekend, got me some beef ribs, a couple slabs, some greens, and some macaroni and cheese. Y'all all know I love my black-owned businesses, and Dave always takes care of me. So shout out to Dave Sims because that platter he put together for me was great. But the story I was going to tell you all was about my son. My son called me yesterday, and he said, "Pop, what should I do with Tesla? I'm ready to sell Tesla." I said, "Son, I told you not to buy that piece of bleep." Anyway, I'm not a fan of Tesla. Y'all all know I'm not a fan of Tesla. Why am I not a fan of Tesla? Because Tesla ain't making no money. And I know you all love to say, well, Tesla is not a car company. Tesla is a tech company. All right, but guess what? 97% of their revenue comes from cars. So until they really, really make that switch to invade space or go to Mars or really get a foothold on the solar panel market, it's still a car company. Granted, I've heard wonderful things about the Tesla. I do not own one. Maybe one day I'll buy one. But they sell a great product, but they're still not able to sell enough of them to really cut a profit. And yes, I know they had 4 consistent quarters of profit in July. But then when I looked at that, the profits were really, really, really scrawny. I mean, like, it's when I say squarely or stably profitable, they are not. They're not. The Taxman 11 says, "What do I know about Paydex?" And I'm coming back to the rest of the story about my son. Says, "What do you know about Paydex?" I know it's about business. I know it's about business credit. The higher your score, usually the better. But I am not the business credit expert. Shout out to Terry Kauser. Terry Kauser is the person I turn to for all my credit stuff, to say the least. DJ Yin Yang, thanks for joining us. The Business Bully. What's up, Dave? How are you? Achievement. How are you, sir? All right, so my son calls and he says, "What should I do with Tesla?" Now, if y'all know, y'all saw tech fall last week. Tech fell last week. Whole market fell. Why did the whole market fall? Because basically tech is driving the market right now. All right, and so my son says, "Well, I don't know what I should do." Well, I said, "Are you profitable?" He says, "Yeah, a little bit." I said, "Well, if I were you," and I'm not, and so you usually don't listen to me anyway, because my son will call me a million times and ask me a million questions, but still won't do what I tell him to do. But that's just the part of being a parent, right? The ultimate test of patience is being a parent. All right. So I said, well, I will sell it all and I will buy an ETF because you're still learning. You're still trying to figure it out. You're doing what everybody else is doing, following the crowd. I said, I didn't raise your ass to follow no crowd, but that's what you're doing anyway. And you brought Tesla. It's cool. I get it. I get it. I said, but I will buy an ETF. And I said, I will buy VTI. Listen, that is not a recommendation. It was a recommendation for my son. He's my son. But that is not a recommendation for you all, right? That's not a recommendation for y'all. This is for education and entertainment purposes only. I'm just sharing a story out of my life book. But I don't want y'all just taking my advice, following my advice without doing your own research. So remember, past performance is not an indicator of future results, which basically means just because a stock was doing good and doing great does not mean it won't fall at some point. Look at what happened to Tesla and Apple this week and yesterday and today, right? So, no, Frank, I did listen to my dad, and I don't need you coming on here sharing all my skeletons just because you've known me damn near all my life, all right? All right, wait till you start doing some lives on your YouTube. I'm going to come on there and wreak havoc to you, sir. So, Frank knows where all the dead skeletons are. He's one of my oldest friends. We actually used to be roommates many, many years ago. If he gets on here and starts sharing some of those stories, I'm going to shoot him. And yes, I've already indicted myself on public TV, but we're going to have problems. But I know he can't share too many stories because he's married too. So, but like I was saying, I'm looking at VTI. Why VTI? VTI is an ETF. ETF stands for Exchange Traded Fund. All right, Exchange Traded Fund, which essentially is just a basket of securities. In the case of VTI, it is a basket of stocks from around the world, right? So everybody talks about the S&P 500, and that's cool. S&P 500 is the 500 largest companies in the United States. But with this ETF, I suggested for my son, not for y'all, for my son, this is worldwide. So you can get exposure to China, Europe, South America in some regards, and other things that are going to grow, other companies that have growth potential, not just in the United States. So I suggest that to a lot of newbies that are starting out because it gives you a great mix while you are just starting in the market. A lot of times people say, well, I don't know what to buy. Now, I tell everybody they should buy what they buy. What I mean by that, I say, listen, if you buy Apple products, start buying Apple stocks. If you've got a Ford car, start with Ford. If you like Microsoft, like Frank is a Microsoft certified engineer. I don't know if that cert is still around, but Frank also loves Microsoft products. He hates Apple. Frank, you hear, so I'm going to pick on you. He hates Apple and he likes Google. And so he could pick any of those companies to begin his investment journey with. They're all good companies. They all are squarely profitable, like meaning they've been profitable for a long time. What does profitability mean? Just in case for all of y'all who don't know, right? You have the money you make from your customers or your clients, right? And then you got to pay all your expenses, right? Your light bill, your employees, your insurances, your marketing, your advertising costs. All right. So the profit is everything that is left over after you pay your expenses. All right. Sometimes you have a mismatch of what you're bringing in. You're not bringing in enough to pay all your expenses, so you're at a loss. Tesla just got out of that not too long ago, but everybody still loves them. Everybody still loves them. Right. Big Man Tech says, I don't hate Apple, just not my favorite. You should do a video on that. You should do a whole Google versus Apple video. Good keyword research right there. All right. So that's my take. So VTI, let me see. How many stocks does VTI own? Let me see if I can pull this up on the screen for you all. Sorry, my IG fam. I can't share over there just yet. But I'm sure the day will come where we can do more robust things with IG at some point. So again, Vanguard total stock market. One of their top holdings is Apple. But give me 1 second while I share this with everybody on Facebook and on YouTube. So again, if you can't find anything that you like, right? If you can't find or you can't think of any company that you like or you have favorites with, like a lot of athletes love Nike. Some people love their Tide. Guess who makes Tide? Procter and Gamble. So if you can't think of anything or any of those that you use on a regular basis, then just pick a basic ETF. All right. You don't have to chase after Tesla. You don't have to chase after Apple. If you want to get into the market, start with an ETF. By the way, Warren Buffett basically says the same thing. Start with an index fund. This is an index fund. What I'm talking about here is an index fund. Everybody that's on YouTube and Facebook, tell me, can you see the screen? Can you see the holdings? Let me see if I can make it a little bit larger. And like I said, I'm not going to be here for super duper long tonight. You only get me for an hour, 1 hour, 60 minutes. Let's see if we can make that a little bit bigger. There we go. Oh man, I got a lot of comments over here. All right, I got to come back to the comments to make sure I get all the questions. All right, so VTI, right? Biggest position. They have over 3,500 positions. Talk about diversification. But they have Apple, they have Microsoft, they have Amazon, they have Facebook, they have Alphabet, they have Johnson & Johnson, Berkshire Hathaway, Procter & Gamble, Visa, United Health, Home Depot, MasterCard, JP Morgan, Nvidia, Verizon Communications, PayPal, Netflix, Adobe, Pfizer, Tesla. They could throw Tesla out, but they got a little bit of Tesla, right? So and I didn't know they had Tesla. So yeah, I'm going to tell him that again, that by buying VTI, he'll still get some exposure to Tesla. Yeah, Mid Atlantic, ARK or ARKK, I think it is, or ARKKW. Like, it's super heavily weighted with Tesla. All right, so what Mid Atlantic is talking about is another ETF. And I don't like it. Again, I am not a Tesla fan. I think Elon Musk is a genius, but they just have not figured out how to be profitable, and they've been around for 10 years. So it's not like they're a baby or a toddler. They've been crawled, they've been walked, and they should be running, but they don't focus very well. Right. So everybody can't be multifaceted. Some people just need to focus on one thing. So I would say they probably should just focus on their cars for right now, since that's what's driving them, and then come back around to solar, and then come back around and go to the moon or Mars. I will say though, SpaceX, their rocket is actually very impressive. I can't front on that. The sucker goes in reverse, right? I can't front on that. But again, if you don't have a clue on where to start in terms of your investments, here's a great place to begin with an ETF. There's plenty of ETFs. This is the one I like. I tend to like Vanguard products because they are low cost. All right. So you're talking about a couple of basis points or a couple of percentage points, not a whole percent, but a fraction of a percentage point. And you get all these great quality companies. So I took my tip from Kaizen and I started my journey into VTI. So thank you, Kaizen. I appreciate you investing in me. And I'm glad I was able to provide you value. Sunny DC1, thank you for joining. How you doing today? Happy Wednesday. All right. So let's get back to these comments. Is everybody clear on what I just talked about? I don't want to leave anybody behind. Yeah, Miss Edith. Yes, I'm not going to say the name. I'm not going to put it up on the screen. Karan, you my man, but I don't want to put it on the screen. Because I'm just focused living my best life. and there's some other reasons I'll tell you about privately. That was Edith. I'm not a sucker. Yes. Yeah, but I'll say this, like, I'm transparent. Driving to see clients is not the best thing for me in terms of profitability. So it's hard sometimes, and it sucks up my time. Okay. All right. Debbie Wilbur, thank you for joining us. Appreciate the knowledge y'all passing to the community. So Don's talking about, when he says y'all, he's talking about me and my other Black Wealth Project compadres, brothers and sisters, from the Ivy Investor to Tracy Real Estate. So the brothers over at Bob the Hood, Corey and Jimmy, we do the Black Wealth Project town hall meeting every Sunday at 7 p.m. I know Karan is a faithful watcher of that, just like Don and a few others. I hope y'all been enjoying it. Let me know what y'all think about it. But, we're trying to talk about things on that show that aren't usually talked about, because many times when we talk about wealth, we just talk about the financial aspect of it. But wealth makes up so many things, whether it's health, physical health, mental health, exercise, meditation, things like that. Yes, via the market crash. I wouldn't call it, I would, I'm sorry, I'm coming back to you, Robin. I just saw this. So Karan says he'll take all the smoke. Yeah, you can have it. You can have it. So Latoya says, why are we seeing an increase with people wanting to open an LLC? That ain't fair, Latoya. We just talked about that. All right, we're seeing an increase of people opening LLCs because people don't know what they're talking about, and they take advice from the social media advisors, right? That graduated from Social Media LLC University. It never actually had practicality or practical use in it. And listen, there's nothing wrong with an LLC. There's nothing wrong with a corporation. There's nothing wrong with a partnership. There's nothing wrong with a qualified joint venture. But there's a time and a place for everything. That's in the Bible. I believe that's real life, right? Um, People think that there's been this story out there, and I think that part of it is due to people just are making up stuff they have to talk about in order to create content. So I've seen all kinds of things. I've seen so-called celebrities say that you should get an LLC and you can write off everything in taxes. But here's the deal. Most people that have LLCs are what's called a solo member or sole member LLC. And a sole member LLC is what's called a disregarded entity. Now, I'm not trying to get super duper technical. All right. But all disregarded entity means to the IRS, when I'm talking about the IRS right now, all disregarded entity means to the IRS is that they're going to treat you like an individual. Period. Point blank. That's it. That's all. So if they're going to treat you like an individual, in some instances, it might make more sense to just be a regular sole proprietor. Might just make more sense to be a regular sole proprietor and start your business, especially if you're starting from the mud. If you're starting from the bottom, you don't have a whole lot of money. If you just want to get out on the corner and sell some water because it's hot outside and you are in the vicinity of popping corners, busy corners, heavily trafficked corners, and nobody's out there selling anything, and you want to do that, by all means, go to Sam Club, go to Costco's, go to BJ's, buy you a couple cases of water and rock out. Make sure they're cold though, right? Customer service, the experience is everything. So, but you don't necessarily need an LLC to do that. You can just, again, go to Costco and buy your stuff and go to your nearest thoroughfare. Now, this is one of the things that I don't see a lot of the LLC and corporation gurus tell you. You still need to comply with the laws of your municipality or township, wherever you live. So sometimes if you're out there selling your wares, you might need some kind of license. You might need some type of certificate. You might need some type of clearance. Every city, town, borough is different. You need to comply with those laws because that typically will save you some money. All right. But, again, you don't necessarily need an LLC to start. You don't necessarily need a corporation to start. Listen, I tell you all the time, there's no such thing as cookie cutter situations. Everybody's situation is different. Everybody truly is special. Whether they're special in a good way or special in a not so good way, they're still special. And their strategy should be special. It should be individualized. All right. And I'm not saying it's got to be super duper complicated and difficult, but Latoya does bookkeeping. I do some bookkeeping, but not a whole lot. Right. Her strategy should be different from mine. I go live a whole lot more than Latoya does. I actually enjoy content creation, right? Fell in love with content creation when I was on the radio, when I first had a radio show. So, it's different. It's just different. So yes, the VIX and the market crash. Yes, the VIX has been up these last couple of days. Hi, Robin. Someone asked me to do a video, Robin, I hope it wasn't you, with somebody, and my name's spelled with a C, lady. But somebody asked me to do a video talking about the VIX and the correlation between the VIX and the markets. That's a video I need to do. I can do it now. I can talk about it now, but I want to go a little bit deeper on that. Because I know somebody's going to ask, well, what's the VIX? And then I'm going to have to explain that the VIX is options and the type of options and the volatility in the options. And we ain't got enough time for that today. Okay, so Karan asks, when paying yourself from an LLC, can it be just as simple as transferring from the business account to your personal account? Yes, it can be. However, you, Sheree. All right, I didn't forget you. See, I ain't forget you. Yes, Karan, it can be that simple. But here's the thing with bookkeeping. And Karan and I actually did a whole QuickBooks kind of run through. It's on my YouTube somewhere. Tiff Lewis, how are you? Thank you for joining us. Um, so when paying yourself, yes, you can do that. You would call that an owner's draw 9 times out of 10, unless that LLC is a partnership. And there's some other intricacies as well I won't bother to go into. But yes, it can be that. Just make sure you label it properly, right? One thing, right? I'll be totally honest. I don't do my bookkeeping as often as I should, but I still do it. But I set up everything so when I do get downtime and I can knock it out, it's pretty easy, right? So here's a couple of steps that you can do. I know a lot of y'all make payments through PayPal. I know a lot of y'all make payments through Cash App. All right. Don't use Cash App. Don't use PayPal as your bank. Please, please, please don't do it. It becomes a bookkeeping nightmare. And I've seen lots of people get their accounts taken because of some, TOS, a terms of service violation that they were totally unaware of. And so people have had thousands and thousands of dollars in their, online merchants, PayPal or Cash App or Venmo or Vimeo. I'm not sure exactly how to say it, but they've gotten their money taken. That's not a good thing. All right. So if you do receive money or you use those platforms as a merchant service type account, only use them as a merchant service type account. As soon as the money hits, you should have it transferred to your bank account. All right. And if you pay money out of those type accounts, make sure you label them, right? When in the description section, make sure you put down what exactly it's for, right? So Karan is a photographer and a videographer and just all around artistic genius. Him and Garen, both very, very talented guys. I'm actually jealous of those guys, especially Karan, because I have a camera that I play with. Y'all see me do these videos, but I really am interested in like making photography one of my hobbies. I just haven't had the time to do it. My clients won't leave me alone, so I don't have time to do it. But if I send a payment to Karan, let's say through Cash App, I'm going to say, here's $1,000 to Karan. And in the memo section, I'm going to say for, I don't know, the Finance Rebel photo shoot, Finance Rebel edits. So when it comes time for me to do my bookkeeping, that's going to trigger me to say, oh, that's a marketing or advertising expense. That should be categorized as marketing and advertising. I see so many people who do not do that. And then when it's time to actually do their books, they forget what the expense was for. And so they go around and they guess. And guess what, right? My rule is when I do a tax return, I do it to the best of my ability so I can withstand an IRS audit, right? I don't like losing. I don't like getting my butt whooped. I like winning. I'm a victor. I'm a winner. I'm a warrior, all of that. So I prepare and go into each one of these tax returns like I'm doing battle. And so I like to do what I call kind of audit proof. And that's kind of a cliche kind of term, right? You can't really audit proof anything. That's another thing for another time. However, what you can do is you can prepare yourself for an audit, right? And to be able to defend against an audit, right? And so the best way to defend against an audit from the IRS, right? I want to be able to defend against an audit from the IRS. The best way to do that is have documentation. Documentation. And the IRS tends to like receipts and they tend to like books and they tend to like going through stuff in a very organized fashion. That's one of the main reasons why you want to go and have proper bookkeeping done, whether you do it or you pay somebody else to do it, is so that if that threat ever arises, because it is a threat, because it can hurt really, really bad, right? I've seen people disallow certain things. And when I say disallow, right, let's say you pay your employees $50,000. And then they say, well, you didn't do X, Y, and Z right. They weren't really employees. They were independent contractors. We're going to disallow that whole expense. Guess what? You just probably had to pay tax on $50,000 that you weren't expecting. So it's not fun. So it's always better to prepare in advance, because usually what happens is you get down the road a couple of years, you forget all about the stuff. It's like having an argument with your spouse, with your loved one. After a little bit of time goes by, it forgets. Now, there's a particular gender that usually don't forget nothing. I ain't saying no names. I ain't calling it out. They don't forget nothing. And they will bring it up later on. And if you ain't prepared, you smoked. You done lost. You done lost one. So the IRS is just like that, right? So keep all your documents well manicured, keep them in order. So if and ever the date arises that you have an IRS audit, you can come out of that IRS audit victorious. All right. Plus, it's a great management tool, right? You really can't run your business unless you really see what's going on, right? Are people paying you on time when you send out your invoices or cash or however way you get paid? Are you paying too much for a particular product or service that you're paying for? Doing good books will help you with all of that. All right. So, Karan, I hope I answered that for you thoroughly. Um, so Robin asked, so Robin, you talking about shorting. You know I don't talk shorting here. You've been here, you've been around. Shorting is an intermediate to advanced topic. All right. It's an intermediate to advanced topic. I don't know if I would short anything in this market, right? I would not short Tesla. For everybody that's watching, y'all know I talk, basically to the beginner investor. But you should know that you can make money when the stock market goes up. You can make money when the stock market goes down. And you can make money when the stock market goes sideways. All right. Through various strategies. The beginner strategy basically is making money when the stocks go up. For the most part. Now, Miss Robin, how long you been investing or trading? Because shorting the market is also more of a trading aspect. There's a lot of people shorting Tesla. I wouldn't recommend shorting Tesla. I think I just said that a minute ago. I wouldn't do it. But we're still in the bull market, so I wouldn't really recommend shorting anything right now. I'm a big believer in a large aspect of trend trading, right? So the trend is your friend till the end. The trend is your friend till the end, all right? And so what does that mean is you don't want to really fight the trend because 9 times out of 10, it's at the $6 that when you go against the trend, you lose. And if you are a small money investor, and that is no dispersion to anybody, just saying you ain't got a whole lot of money and you can't afford to lose money. There's a lot of money to be lost in shorting stocks. Ms. Edith, I think I told you the ETF. It was VTI. I actually should have my own private group where I'm sharing stuff like that where you guys have to pay me. All right, so the Kaizen investor says it's disturbing how many people confuse investing with gambling. Hey man, sister, say that again. It's disturbing how many people confuse investing with gambling. They want fast money and don't understand how wealth is built. Yes, most people want lottery tickets, right? I often talk about how in my neighborhood, there was a check cashing store around the corner. There was a 7-Eleven store at the other end, and I always see people go in and buy lottery tickets. 420, 420, right? With a $5 box. I think that's $5 played on any number, any combination of those numbers. I'm rusty. I don't remember. And I would see people go in there and spend Google gobs of money, like a whole lot of money, like real money. But then these are the same people I would see sometimes that would be drunk and high. These are some of the people that I would see walking around kind of aimlessly. When you look in their eyes, they don't really have a glimmer of hope. These are some of the same people I would see that weren't really prepared for retirement. So then they have to go work at somewhere at a Walmart, right? And there's nothing wrong with working at a Walmart or anything like that. There is something wrong with working at a Walmart because you didn't properly prepare though. All right. And again, everybody's life is different, right? So I ain't trying to shame nobody. That ain't my gig. That ain't my thing. But there are a lot of able-bodied people who made decisions, right? They made choices not to save, not to invest, not to prepare themselves for the later years of life when their body just don't work like it did when they were 20 and 25, right? There's going to come a time where all of us are going to say, man, it takes me a little bit longer to get up them steps. Man, it takes me a little bit longer to get out the bed in the morning. Man, I can't stay up as late as I used to. That's a cycle of life. And we all should be preparing for it. Now, some people call it retirement. Some people call it financial freedom. I do think retirement and financial freedom are a little bit different. for the most part. But at the end of the day, it's still preparing yourself to be able to take care of yourself when you are not able to get up and go to a job or go to your business and earn money every day. That time is coming. And so people confuse investing, trying to get rich real quick without doing the work, right? Part of getting rich quick is also entitlement syndrome. I'm not gonna go too deep into that today because I don't have my Kamari the philosopher hat on right now. But I'll just say this: the work is the work. Perk baby, how are you? Zaki, how are you? Miss Whitney, how are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. While you're all here, I appreciate you all here. Humbled while you're all here. I am Kamari Ellis, the Finance Rebel. This is the Finance Rebel Show, and every Wednesday, as a part of the Finance Rebel Show, we do Wealthy Wednesdays, where I answer your questions live right here. All right. So I've been doing this for a while. Actually, really love doing this now. Love engaging with y'all. Love seeing y'all every week and answering your questions. Every week there's something different. So I truly get something out of this just as much as you all. But going back to the gambling part, right? I might be dating myself here, but if anybody remembers, oh man, I can't think of the show with Dwayne and Roger in Rerun. What's happening? And Dwayne was gambling and he was winning all these gambling games. He was betting on football. And he was betting on football. And they're like, Dwayne, how are you doing this? You're a genius. How are you doing this? And I might be dating myself for y'all young folks who don't remember what's happening. Just bear with me a little bit. So Dwayne was winning all these games. He was getting money. He was able to go pay Shirley at the restaurant where they would eat their food. And they would all order milkshakes and hamburgers and have a great time. Then the question came, Dwayne, how are you picking these teams? I picked the ones with the best helmets or the prettiest uniforms or something like that. But there was no methodical way that he did it. He just picked them and he got lucky. And so what's funny is when people gamble, sometimes they get lucky, right? They get lucky and they win. They get lucky and they make money in the stock market. Listen, everybody can make money in the bull market. You can just buy an index fund and make money. And then people say, oh, you're a genius. You're a genius. No, not really. You just were able to ride the market wave. And I don't say that to be cruel. I just say it because it's real. But, people do that and they think it's fine. Now, the Kaizen investor said she saw my OnlyFans video. But Kaizen, did you see my ham sandwich video? So in my ham sandwich video, the ham sandwich video is about me looking for boring companies just like Warren Buffett. All right. So Kaizen said that's awesome. But I'm looking for boring companies because tech stocks isn't everything that's to investing. All right. There's more to it. There's way more to it. A tech company that ain't making no money. Exactly. All right. Yeah. VTI. VTI is the one. I like that one. Yeah. VT. Oh, you know what, Don? You might be right. I'm sorry for that. So VT, I always get them confused. Yes, VT. I'm sorry, y'all. So it should be VT, not VTI. That's why it's important to do your research. But that's also why it's important to have people to have your back. So thanks for having my back, Don. I was one letter off. Now, IG, my time is up. I got a minute and 53 seconds. I'm not going to come back for an hour or two because I told you I was only going to be on for an hour. But I appreciate you all. Thanks for checking in. I'll be back next Wednesday with another segment of Wealthy Wednesdays where I'm answering your questions live. Listen, if anybody has any comments, questions, concerns, I'll do separate videos where I'll try to bring them to Wealthy Wednesdays. You can text me. Don't call me. Text me. 484-278-1357 again. 484-278-1357 again. Thank you for being here. I know that you're all here, but this is about my time. I'm going to do about 3 more minutes on YouTube and Instagram, and then I'm going. But I'll see you all next week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. All right, so I'm going to try to get through the rest of the questions over here. and then I'm going to get something to eat, and then I got some work to do. Yeah, doing my there's a lot of 82-year-old people working at Walmart. And again, this ain't no shade. This is real life. I mean, who the hell wants to get up at 82 years old and go to Walmart when you could be playing with your grandkids, or, hanging out with friends playing bid whist or something like that, right? Going to feed the ducks, just doing something that you want to do. Now, listen, if you're 82 and you got plenty of money and you want to go to work at Walmart, that's fine. I'm cool with that. I'm just talking about the opposite side of it, where you don't have that option. And there's a lot of people like that. I know a lot of people like that. I know a lot of people who live solely on Social Security. I don't think my generation will be able to do that. I think my retirement number is 67. Like everybody says 65, but my retirement number is not 67. I can't get Social Security at 65, or not full Social Security at 65, right? So that's a whole other thing. And I bet, because there's been such a run on Social Security, that they'll probably raise my number again. I wouldn't be surprised by that. Maybe I should try to take Social Security down. All right, that's what's Edith again. Oops. All right, yes, that's Robin. Okay, Robin said just heard about the picture. Yeah, so I'm going to do that because Cherie Banks asked me to do that video. I'm going to do that video. Hopefully I will get it out by Monday. I got a bunch of other stuff that's coming down the pike too. I did a great radio interview on the other day. I think it was Friday. And I got a lot of clips there I'll be sharing as well. And I think a lot of you all will be able to appreciate some of it. I just answer questions just like I do here every Wednesday. All right. So listen, I'm going to ask you all, do me one big favor. Do me one big favor. Go on over to the Apple Store and take a look at my podcast. All right. The Finance Rebel podcast. We are up to episode 26. Give it a listen. And after you give it a listen, give it a review and a rating. 5-star preferably. But, if you don't think it's worth 5-star, you think it's worth like 4.5, you can still give it a 5-star rating, right? Because we're going to round up around these parts. Okay. So listen, going over to the Finance Rebel, give it a listen, give it a rating, give it a review. I appreciate you all. I will be back next week. I'm still on the fence about Saturday. Like I told you, I'm working on this top secret mission, but I'm going to try my best to do Saturday. Like I said, I like to be here with y'all, but if I do make it, I'll let you know. It will be Saturday at 11:30. If I don't, I'll put a posting up and let you know that it won't be. Yeah, I'll do it just to kind of give you the long and short out. And the VIX is just a measure of volatility in the markets. That's really all it is. It's nothing really fancy. People come up with all kinds of theories and things like that about it. But yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it. That's not a problem. I'll try to get to it by Monday, but I can't promise that. I'll definitely get to it within the week though. But again, everybody, do me a favor. Go on over. Check out the Finance Rebel Show on Apple. You can watch it on Apple. You can watch it on Spotify, or listen to it on Spotify. Listen to it on Apple, Google Play, and Stitcher. Again, rate, comment, and review, and share it with somebody. All right. So I'll see you all later. Everybody have a great, great night. Again, I thank you all. Allison, thank you for joining us. I just saw you snuck in the room. Again, I appreciate you all. Humbled that you're all here. And I will see you no later than next Wednesday, but maybe on Saturday. Again, everybody have a great day. Do some studying and send me some questions to answer. All right. Have a great day. Bye-bye.